Today we are back in Genesis, and we will be reading from the children of Nahor all the way to the death of Abraham, which is 25:11. So in the last reading, we read up to the command to sacrifice Isaac and talking about the covenant between God, Abraham, and Abraham's people, and why the circumcision was created. So, let's start with the children of Nahor, which is where we left off, which is 22:20. So, now, after these things, it was told Abraham, Milcah also has borne children to your brother Nahor, Uz the firstborn, Buz his brother, Kemuel the father of Aram, Chesed, Hazo, Pildash, Jidlap, and Bethuel. Bethuel became the father of Rebekah. These 8 Milcah born to Nahor, Abraham's brother. Moreover, his concubine, who was Reumah, bore Tebah, Gaham, Tahaj, and Mahakah. So this is, one of the shorter family tree chapters, as I like to, or stories, as I like to call them, because it goes from the starter and then all the way down the totem pole. And this one's relatively short and the names are relatively easy. So Sarah's death and burial. Sarah, the mother of Isaac, and also the one who laughed when she heard God say that she was going to bear a son in her old age, in her 100s, literally. So she's dead. Let's see what that's about. So Sarah lived 127 years. This was the length of Sarah's life. And Sarah died at Kiriath-Arba, that is Hebron, in the land of Canaan. And Abraham went in to mourn for Sarah and weep for her. Abraham rose up from beside his dead, and said to the Hittites, I am a stranger and an alien residing among you. Give me property among you for a burying place, so that I may bury my dead out of my sight. The Hittites answered Abraham, Hear us, my lord. You are a mighty prince among us. Bury your dead in the choicest of our burial places. None of us will withhold you from any burial ground for burying your dead. Abraham rose and bowed to the Hittites, the people of the land. He said to them, If you are willing that I should bury my dead out of my sight, hear me, and entreat from me Ephron, son of Zohar, so that he may give me the cave of Machpelah, which he owns. It is at the end of his field. For the full price, let him give it to me in your presence as a possession for a burial place. Now Ephron was sitting among the Hittites, and Ephron and the Hittites answered Abraham in the hearing of the Hittites, of all who went into the gate of the city. No, my lord, hear me. I give you the field. I give you the cave that is in it, and the presence of my people. I give it to you. Bury your dead. Then Abraham bowed down before the people of the land. He said to Ephron, in the hearing of the people of the land, If you only listen to me, I will give the price of the field. Accept it from me, so that I may bury my dead there. Ephron answered Abraham, My lord, listen to me. A piece of land worth 400 shekels of silver. What is that between you and me? Bury your dead. Abraham agreed with Ephron, and Abraham weighed weighed out for Ephron the silver that he had named in the hearing of the Hittites, 400 shekels of silver, according to the ways current among the merchants. So the field of Ephron in Machpelah was to the east of Mamre. The field with the cave was in it, and all the trees that were in the field. Throughout its whole area passed to Abraham as a possession in the presence of the Hittites, in the presence of all who went in at the gate of his city. After this, Abraham buried Sarah his wife in the cave of the field of Machpelah, facing Mamre, that is Hebron, in the land of Canaan. The field and the cave that it is passed from the Hittites into Abraham's possession as a burying place. So Sarah passed away, and pretty much Abraham was like, let me bury her to get her. He did say get her out of his sight. Yeah, because he doesn't want to look at his wife's dead body. That makes sense. And there was a back and forth where they all respected each other, and they were like, he was like, what is 400? I'm just gonna say dollars, or whatever, 400 shekels of silver. They had such a strong friendship and relationship, or at least partnership with each other, or they're like, what's 400 shekels of silver between us? Have the land. There was this back and forth, but he buried her, and then comes chapter 24 of Genesis, the marriage of Isaac and Rebekah. Now Abraham was old, well advanced in years, and the Lord had blessed Abraham in all things. Abraham said to his servant, the oldest of his house, who had charge of all that he had, put your hand under my thigh, and I will make you swear by the Lord, the God of heaven and earth, that you will not get a wife for my son from the daughters of the Canaanites, among whom I live, but I will go to my country and to my kindred and get a wife for my son Isaac. The servant said to him, perhaps the woman may not be willing to follow me to this land. Must I then take your son back to the land from which you came? Abraham said to him, see to it that you do not take my son back there. The Lord, the God of heaven, who took me from my father's house and from the land of my birth, and who spoke to me and swore to me, to your offspring I will give this land. He will send his angel before you, and you shall take a wife for my son from there. But if the woman is not willing to follow you, then you will be free from this oath of mine. Only you must not take my son back there. So the servant put his hand under the thigh of Abraham, his master, and swore to him concerning this matter. So that's not the end of that. So far I just wanted to break that down. Such the idea of the channel. Abraham was like, I want you to promise to me, because I'm getting old, I'm gonna die soon. My wife literally just died, and she was 127. I think he's older than her, so he has to be extremely old. He was like, I want you to swear to me that my son will not marry a daughter of the Canaanites. He does not want that. He said, you will go to, I don't know if he named somewhere specifically, if I forgot that, but you will go to a faraway land, and you will bring a wife for my son from there that is not a Canaanite. And The servant was like, what if she doesn't come? And Abraham was like, if she doesn't come, then you're relieved from this. Just promise me that my son doesn't come back to here. If he has the opportunity to marry a Canaanite. Then the servant took 10 of his master's camels and departed, taking all kinds of choice gifts from his master. And he set out and went to, Aram-naharaim, to the city of Nahor. He made the camels kneel down outside the city, by the well of the water. It was towards evening, the time when women go out to draw water. And he said, O Lord, God of my master Abraham, please grant me success today, and I shall show steadfast love to my master Abraham. I am standing here by the spring of water, and the daughters of the townspeople are coming out to draw water. Let the girl whom I shall say, please offer your jar that I may drink, and who shall say, drink, and I will water your camels. Let her be the one whom you have appointed for your servant Isaac. By this I shall know that you have shown steadfast love to my master. So the servant's game plan here is to, around the time where the women of the town will come out to go get water, he's going to stop and he's going to be like, may I have a drink of your water? And whichever woman says yes, let me give some water to your camels as well, will become Abraham's wife, if willing. If not, he has to he's relieved from this vow. Before he had finished speaking, there was Rebekah, who was born to Bethuel, the son of Milcah, the wife of Nahor, Abraham's brother, coming out with her water jar on her shoulder. The girl was very fair to look upon, a virgin whom no man had known. She went down to the spring, filled her jar, and came out. Then the servant ran to meet her and said, please, let me sip a little water from your jar. Drink, my lord, she said, and quickly lowered her jar among her hand and gave him a drink. When she finished giving him a drink, she said, I will draw for your camels also, until they had finished drinking. So she quickly emptied her jar into the trough and ran again to the well to draw, and she drew for all of his camels. The man gazed at her in silence to learn whether or not the Lord had made his journey successful. So Rebekah, did what his plan was. He was like, okay, she's perfect for Isaac. So when the camels had finished drinking, the man took a gold nose ring, weighed a half shekel, and 2 bracelets for her arms, weighing 10 gold shekels, and said, tell me whose daughter you are. Is there room in your father's house for us to spend the night? She said to him, I am the daughter of Bethuel, son of Milcah, whom she bore to Nahor. She added, we have plenty of straw and fodder and a place to spend the night. The man bowed his head and worshipped the Lord and said, blessed be the Lord, the God of my master Abraham, who has not forsaken his steadfast love and his faithfulness towards my master. For as for me, the Lord has led me on the way to the house of my master's kin. Then the girl ran and told her mother's household about these things. Rebekah had a brother whose name was Laban, and Laban ran out to the spring. As soon as he had seen the nose ring and the bracelets on his sister's arm, when he heard the words of his sister's Rebekah, thus the man spoke to me. He went out to the man. Thus he was there, standing by the camels at the spring. He said, come in, O blessed of the Lord. Why do you stand outside when I have prepared the house and a place for for the camels. So the man came in the house, and Laban unloaded the camels, and gave him straw and fodder for the camels, and water to wash his feet, and the feet of the men who were with him. Then the food was set before him to eat. But he said, I will not eat until I have told my errand. He said, Speak on. So, the brother was like, What are you doing outside? Come on, I got a place for your camel, and wash your feet. So, he said, I am Abraham's servant. The Lord has greatly blessed my master, and he has become wealthy. He has given him flocks and herds, and silver and gold, male and female slaves, camels and donkeys, and Sarah, my master's wife, bore a son to my master when she was old, and he has given him all that he has. My master made me swear, saying, You shall not take a wife for my son from the daughters of the Canaanites, in whose land I live, but you shall go to my father's house, to my kindred, and get a wife for my son. I said to my master, Perhaps the woman will not follow me. But he said to me, The Lord before whom I walk will send his angel with you, and make your way successful. You shall get a wife for my son, from my kindred, from my father's house. Then you will be free from my oath when you come to my kindred. Even when they will not give you to her, you will be free from my oath. I came today to the spring and said, O Lord, the God of my master Abraham, if now you will only make successful the way I am going, I am standing here by the spring of the water. Let the young woman who comes out to draw, whom I shall say, Please give me a little water from your jar to drink, and whom will say to me, Drink, and I will draw for your camels also. Let her be the woman whom the Lord has appointed for my master's son. Before I had finished speaking, in my heart there was Rebekah coming out with her water jar on her shoulder. And she went down to the spring and drew. I said to her, Please let me drink. She quickly let down her jar from her shoulder and said, Drink, and I will also water your camels. So I drank, and then she watered the camels. Then I asked her, Whose daughter are you? She said, The daughter of Bethuel, Nahor's son, whom Milcah bore to him. So I put the ring on her nose and the bracelets on her arms. Then I bowed my head and worshipped the Lord, and blessed the Lord, the God of my master Abraham, who had led me on the right way to obtain the daughter of my master's kinsman for his son. Now then, if you will deal loyalty and truly with my master, tell me, and if not, tell me, so that I may turn either to the right hand or to the left. Then Laban and Bethuel answered, The things come from the Lord. We cannot speak anything bad or good. Look, Rebekah is before you. Take her and go, and let her be the wife of your master's son, as the Lord has spoken. When Abraham's servant heard their words, he bowed himself to the ground before the Lord. And the servant brought out jewelry of silver and gold and garments and gave them to Rebekah. He also gave to her brother and her mother costly ornaments. Ornaments. Yeah. And he and the men who were with him ate and drank. They spent the night there. And when they rose in the morning, he said, Send me back to my master. Her brother and her mother said, Let the girl remain with us a while, at least 10 days. After that, then she may go. But he said to them, Do not delay me, since the Lord had made my journey successful. Let me go, that I may go to my master. They said, We will call the girl, and asked her. They called Rebekah and said to her, "Will you go with this man?" She said, "I will." So they sent away their sister Rebekah and her nurse along with Abraham's servant and his men. They blessed Rebekah and said to her, "May you, our sister, become thousands of myriads. May your offspring gain possession of the gates of their foes." Then Rebekah and her maids rose up, mounted the camels, and followed the man. Thus the servant took Rebekah and went his way. Now Isaac had come from Beeri-lahai and settled in Negev. Isaac went out to the evening to walk in the field. Looking up, he saw the camels coming, and Rebekah looked up, and when she saw Isaac, she slipped quickly from the camel and said to the servant, "Who is the man over there walking in the field to meet us?" The servant said, "It is my master." She took her veil and covered herself, and the servant took Isaac and all the things he had done. Told Isaac all the things he had done. Then Isaac brought her to his mother Sarah's tent, and took Rebekah. She became his wife, and he loved her. Isaac was comforted after his mother's death. Abraham marries Keturah. Abraham took another wife, whose name was Keturah. She bore him Zimran, Jokshan, Medan, Me'an, Ishbak, and Shua. Jokshan was the father of Sheba, and Dinan, the sons of Dinan. The sons of Dinan were Ashurim, Letushim, and Leuman. And the sons of Midian were Ephah, Epher, Hanach, Abidah, and Eldaah. All of these were the children of Keturah. Abraham gave all he had to Isaac, but to the sons of his concubines Abraham gave gifts. While he was still living, he sent them away from his son Isaac eastward of the east country. The death of Abraham. This is the length of Abraham's life, 175 years. Abraham breathed his last breath and died in a good old age. An old man, full of years, and was gathered to his people. His son Isaac and Ishmael buried him in the cave of Machpelah, the field of Ephron, the son of Zohar, and the Hittites, east of Mamre. The fields that Abraham purchased from the Hittites. There, Abraham was buried with his wife Sarah. After the death of Abraham, God blessed his son Isaac. Isaac settled in Beeri-lahai. So far, we do it. The Bible stories are in little arcs. They're not packaged by themselves. The stories isn't one story and themselves. What I like to do is I take 1 or 2 episodes and I take that arc and I ride that arc like a wave almost. I feel like that's the best thing to do. So this arc, maybe it was 2 or maybe it was 3. Yeah, you can actually check that out. To see from Abram creating the covenant and then becoming Abraham, and then Sarai becoming Sarah, and then all the way to Abraham's death. So we can go. So I just passed by. That was signing the covenant, Tower of Babel. Oh, I think I want to. Lot. Abram and Lot separate. Let's see if Abram pops up before that. Abram, the call of Abram. So this said, is he in the Tower of Babel? I don't see him in there. But the descendants of Shem leads up. Boom, 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 boom. goes from Terah had lived 70 years. He became the father of Abram, Nahor, and Haran. So, boom, Abram right there. So we go down from Shem, that family tree, like I said. Family tree. And then we go from the descendants of Terah, the call of Abraham, and then Abraham and Sarai, and then Abraham and Lot. That whole thing, which was its own episode, then the sign of the covenant, which turned him into Abraham, and then his son. So you have Ishmael, and then you have Isaac, and then you have the sacrifice of Isaac after the covenant. Wait, that was a different covenant, right? Yeah, that was a different covenant. I believe so. Actually, it may not have been a different covenant. No, it was the covenant because his name changed. So there's two covenants. What was that covenant? No, that was a covenant. That was a covenant between two people. That was Abraham and then that other guy. And then Sarah's death. Isaac marries Rebecca, which Isaac. And then Ishmael descendants is going to be the next one. That's going to be the next family tree in the next episode. While we go down there. And then we have Isaac blesses Jacob. So we have a bunch of stuff. We have stuff about Isaac. We have Ishmael's family tree. And then a bunch of stuff about Jacob. Yeah, a lot of stuff about Jacob. Jacob, like a lot. Wow, Jacob really. Death of Isaac, I see that. That is chapter 35. Okay, Jacob is. Okay, wow, I'm just going through and I'm seeing a lot of Jacob. Let's see. Where the heck? When does Jacob die? Joseph. Now we're seeing a lot about Joseph. Okay, a lot about Joseph. And then Jacob's last words to his son. So he's still not dead unless he dies in chapter 49. And then Jacob's death is in the last chapter. So Jacob dies in chapter 50, which is the last chapter of Genesis. So we're going to ride out Ishmael, we're going to ride out Isaac when he dies, which is a little later on, and then Jacob and Joseph are going to take over for the whole end of Genesis. And then we move on into Exodus, which has Moses in it, which I'm very excited about that. So we are almost done with Genesis. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one.